Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And you guessed it, my friends, we have yet another amazing guest this morning. Oh, I am excited to talk this morning with her. My friends, as always, remember that our guests are, customers and clients here at Legendary. And, just here to first of all, stay hydrated with the fancy water. But they are here to share their experience. What it was like. It's their real, good, bad, ugly, up, down, all around. We're here to, understand both what happened, that we could see, but also what happens behind the scenes as well. So we can give you a perspective and a proper expectation of what you may encounter in this journey of entrepreneurship. So with that being said, Michelle, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for having me. Hi,
Oh,
everybody.
it's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. Welcome to the show. Where are you calling in from?
New York. I'm from New York, yes.
Okay. Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
So Michelle, tell us, what motivated you to want to start an online business in the first place?
So first of all, I want to introduce myself, Michelle.
Sure.
Michelle. In October 2023, I became a mom. But prior to that, I was working as a physical therapist, and I'm still working now, but part-time for 6 years now. And so, as a new parent, as a new mom, I wanted to be home with my baby,
Mm,
but I also want to financially contribute, and I can't just put all that financial burden on my husband. So I was hoping, I wasn't actually looking for ways to make money online. I was hoping for something to happen to come to me that
mm,
would give me another option, because in my career I can't just stay home and work from home. I have to be physically out and providing treatment to patients. I have to be out 8-10 hours away from my family, and it's just, I didn't want that. I want to be home with my baby. And so, yeah, I was scrolling past on my social media. I saw a post from another mom saying that she's making this, significant amount of money just working from home. And I got curious, and that's where I started to dive in.
yeah. Well, that makes sense. And, who wouldn't want to be home with their baby?
Yeah.
It's become sort of a norm that you go right back to work after a certain amount of time. And that's,
It's kind of
that
sad.
it is sad. It's not always been like that either. I mean, there's I'm not saying that I'm all traditional values guy, but I mean, for a long time, women took care of their babies, and
Yes. Yeah.
now we're starting to understand why, because they wanted to.
Hmm.
They wanted
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
because there's a maternal connection there,
Yeah.
and us guys, yeah, we want to be around our kids too, but we also don't mind getting back out there and hunting, because that's what we do naturally. And so nothing wrong with women getting back out into the workforce if that's what you want to do, but there's also there needs to be room in our society for women
Yeah.
to stay home if they want to. And right now, you know, inflation and the cost of everything, and families can't afford to do that. It comes down to money. You have to
Mhm.
not do what you want, but you have to do what you can afford. Does that resonate?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. It's crazy, especially here in New York. It's just everything is crazy. So definitely, as one single income, it's just not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly some states are more expensive than others, but you know, um, it's starting to become that way across the entire country. All states are catching up, and we have no idea what the future is going to hold. I mean, if inflation can, sure, it came down, but if it goes back up, people were put into a panic during this pandemic, And I'm sure that
Mhm.
was so fun for people in the medical field to be working out in that. You, after all, are still real people with
Yeah.
families, with husbands, with wives, with babies at home. That you may be brave, but it's also scary to think about taking stuff home to your family and
Mhm.
being forced
Oh
to
yeah.
be to work in those type of environments, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I was actually working during COVID and it was the craziest time. And so thank God I didn't have my baby back then, but it made me realize how it's just anything can happen. And if there will be a time that you don't want to work just to be home with your baby. And yeah, it just made me realize how important time is and how we should be able to just stay home if we can't if we don't want to work because of that thing that's happening. And so yeah.
Yeah. So, talk to us about what it was like to go through, our education. You started with our challenge. It looks like you enrolled in our blueprints. You kind of went all in. What was that? What was that like for you as somebody who, I don't know when the last time you were in school was, but maybe not within the last few years. You look fairly young, maybe early to mid 20s. No, whatever however old you are, y- you
Oh
know,
well,
you
well, I'm
weren't in school
29. Yeah.
recently. You're 29.
I graduated 7 years ago, so it's not too long ago. But
Yeah.
I was set in, being a physical therapist. I love going to school and I love learning. But then when I took your course, it was like an entirely different world. It was like, oh, there's another world out there that I could learn. I could expand my skills. I could learn new skills and I could use that skills to something else. So it was really interesting to me. I was really curious. I dove right into it because it just makes sense to me. Especially the first few videos in the $7, even the $7 course, it made all sense to me. So I just dove right in.
And so, you know, although you're still in your 20s, that's wonderful. Congratulations on that. Um, um, that's awesome just in and of itself. You know, was was it what was it like to encounter these sort of strategies in business models that we're teaching here? Had you ever heard of anything like this before in your college experience or school experience?
Not at all. Not at all. And in school, when you're in healthcare, all you want to do is provide. You want to provide to your patients. You want to provide for your patients. But in marketing, I don't know what marketing is. I don't know what funnel is. I don't know what email marketing is. So these skills, they're new to me, but they also made me want to learn about it. Like something about it that made me just curious.
And even entrepreneurship, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
entrepreneurship in general. Yeah.
that wasn't, I assume, something that's taught when you are in any form of medical education. It's not like here's how to maybe eventually take this and have your own business with it. It's kind of like, hey, here's how to take this and go and work in a hospital or go and work in a doctor's office.
Hmm. It's
So
different.
what was it like when it was time to apply? You learned, and then when it was time to launch, what was that experience like for you? Getting on camera, creating, hitting post. What sort of limiting beliefs did you have that popped up that made it difficult for you to move through that? Tell us a little bit about that chapter of your business.
Of course. So when I first saw the course and took the course, and when I was ready to launch, I was actually excited. I was excited. I'm doing something new. It's
Mm.
something out of what I've been doing, outside of motherhood. I felt like it was for me. So I was excited. So the limiting belief for me was I didn't think that people would listen to me. I didn't think that I could connect to people. And I don't know if that's different for everybody, but um, making content to me was hard too because I don't know how to put myself out there to try to connect to other people. I don't know how to put an information out there to make them interested about it. So it's been a learning curve. I'm better at it now, but my first few posts they sucked. They were ugly and like, what is this, Michelle? Like, I watched my old ones and I'm like, wow, you were terrible. But then it gets better, right? It gets better. And with practice, and the more you do it, it does get better. So, yeah.
So that's pretty direct, the way that you just described yourself. Do you consider yourself somebody that's hard on yourself? Is that a thing for you? And how do you manage that as you need to obviously give yourself a little bit of room and a break in order to move through this and keep how do you
Uh,
say more about that for us, and how
this
you
is
deal
interesting.
with the self, you seem to be
Pressure.
maybe the hardest person. Yeah, you put the most pressure on yourself. It sounds like I can relate to that. How do
Yeah.
you deal with that and still execute and move forward?
Um, it's not easy sometimes. Being hard on yourself is not easy, but it also helps you to push forward and become better. Like if a content, let's just talk about content. If a content is not working, it's not getting views, I want to figure out why that content is not popping off, or what can I do to improve that. So I don't know. I just used it as a motivation to be better, like find other ways to make it better. How can I make this better so I can improve? It's all about, for me, it's all about personal growth too. It's not just, the skills and yeah. Sorry, I'm nervous.
No, it's fine. It makes perfect sense. Um, and so speaking of nervousness and anxiety, I mean, is there's had how do you deal with that on a daily basis? I mean, you can't just I have anxiety too. So it's not just, it's not like I don't. I deal with it as well and have to navigate it and push through it and sometimes kind of channel my anxieties out into my content, kind of
Mhm.
act. I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me that I've learned is like don't sit in it, like act.
Hmm.
I heard Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, once describe it pretty spot on that, somebody said, how do you deal with anxiety in your business? And he said, well, he said, once I send the first email or I take the first action and start being productive around the subject, I tend to, the anxiety for the most part goes away. It's when I sit on it and I don't do anything. And that's when the anxiety really builds up. And I could relate to that because over my career, I have a lot of anxiety, but I tend to take that first step, and then as I'm taking action, it tends to go away.
Yeah.
What is your approach with anxiety? I mean, in life, but also in business and in this business.
Um, I take it as a challenge, actually. Um, uh, you're always going to be anxious anyway. Anxiety is always going to be there. But if I let that take me back and not do something about it and not actually take action, then nothing will happen. So I just take anxieties now as challenge. How can I, what can I learn from this?
Mm,
What can I do to take that to the side? And yeah, it's been working for me. Especially when I'm making talking content, when I'm putting myself out there and I'm
mm,
sharing my story. I actually have to refilm myself multiple times. And sometimes I would write it down so I could remember it. And then, yeah, once I see that it's gotten better, the way I speak, the way I present myself out there, then I just leave it there. That's it.
mm.
It's done. Then I can continue to the next.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Jay Shipman says, "Dave, how you doing? I have never seen you look anxious, even if you were a great job." Well,
Yeah.
I, I am, I deal with anxiety on a daily basis. I have, I don't know if anxiety and depression is hereditary, but it's something that also others have dealt with in my family. And it's real. I've seen the consequences of it. I've seen I've seen the wreckage that and the unmanageability that anxiety and depression can create in people's lives. Thankfully, I think getting sober 15 years ago for me was a huge important step, and has helped tremendously. Because if you're anxious and depressed and then you're taking depressants, or if you're anxious and you're taking uppers, I mean, I got to watch how much coffee I drink, for God's sakes, because I can start getting a little shaky even on that. But it's about doing everything that we can in order to help ourselves and give ourselves an edge. If we know that we are anxious, well, what can I do to try to, I can do a lot of things. I can go to my doctor. I can explain. I can say, is there any medications that I could explore? I could go to my therapist and I could talk it out, and I could share, and I could process thoughts instead of keeping them inside. Those are two obvious ones that I would say a lot of men, at least, I don't know about women, but a lot of men, we're too tough for those things in many cases, but they're so helpful. And
Yeah.
then just in business, not sitting still and getting in our head, but trying to stay outside of our head, executing, posting, just not living in here. This can be a bad neighborhood sometimes. I tend to like to only go up in there with a buddy, using the buddy system. Don't go there alone some days. Well, what comes up for you around this? Did any of this resonate with you?
Oh, definitely. Yes. When I became a mom, I was actually going through postpartum depression. So that was hard. And so this is why this I take this opportunity as something to grow,
Mm,
like to give myself something to do and to grow. This opportunity has been something that empowered me to put
mm,
myself out there again and find myself and find my voice and kind of like share my story and connect to people and let them know that, listen, you're not alone.
yeah.
Someone out there is going through what you're going through, and there are things that we can do to better our lives. So
And I think that's such a brave thing for you to share, because us men, we can't relate to that. I mean, the bottom line is, let's just cut to the chase. Men do not go through the body changes that a woman goes through in giving birth, and
mm,
the before, during, and after. I mean, it is a whole, I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, there's so many things that a person goes through, their body changes, hormones. I can't even speak intelligently on it because I'm a ninth grade dropout, for God's sakes. But I've seen it happen several times, and I've got three children of my own. And what a powerful thing to talk about and to
thank you.
share. Whether is just here or it's anywhere else, that you're talking about that, because that's really something that people can identify with and relate with. I would assume many mothers, anyways. And just for a man to hear you talking about that is revealing, it's educational, it's enlightening, to see the bravery and also see the courage that it takes to go through it and then talk about it and sense the emotion, sense the sensitivity still being there. It's a tender spot, right? It's an important, it's something that affected you deeply.
Yeah.
And just to it's inspirational also to know that you went through that and were affected deeply by that, and still have launched your business. And you've got all the excuses in the world, girlfriend. I mean, it's like you got all the reasons, right? And you're
Yeah.
still pushing through with this unbelievable attitude. Always thought the ultimate inspiration is being inspired by your own story, not by other people's story only. Does that resonate with you? Are you inspired by your own story and what you've overcome?
Now that I think about it, yes, I am. People will, I've been recently opening a lot on my content, and people will come to me, message me saying, "You're so inspiring. How do you do this? How do you do that?" And it just makes me think of like a year ago, I was just like you. I was inspired by other people. And now I'm inspiring other people.
Mm,
So that's good. That makes me feel good. And sorry. I just I think this whole journey of entrepreneurship and stepping out of my comfort zone and learning something new and building my own online business is kind of it's empowering. Like in my head, in my heart, it's so empowering that I want to inspire people that to do the same. Like even though they're in the darkest place of their lives, that they can find some light
mm,
and learn something new, and whatever that skill is, you could use that to empower you and other people. So
absolutely. Kathy says, if you are human, you will have anxiety at some point in your life. It's how you learn to calm yourself. Hey, Kathy, thanks for that. And isn't that true? If you look at one of the most important parts of a baby's life in a toddler's life is how they learn to self-soothe, right?
mm,
And because of, and you'll see babies doing this in different ways. When they're
yeah.
first born, well, they're looking to be with mommy, and they're
Mm,
looking to get fed by mommy, and they're looking to be attached to mommy. And then there's, and daddy too. And then there's certain things like routine, them
mm,
knowing what to expect, that can help them to detach from mommy, for example, and not have to be not have so much um, attachment anxiety when you go to lay them down or when you go to leave them, for example. um, that's one of the things that I think we did well with our young children, was to help them to have a good routine,
yeah.
so they knew, okay,
Mm,
look, here's what you can expect. So the same thing is true with adults, as Kathy said. We need to learn how to self-soothe. We need to learn how to do it in healthy ways. What many of us as adults do is we retreat, we isolate, we kind of retract, we withdraw. And some people deal with their anxiety by going crazy and going out, and getting high and drunk, and right. It's like, there's got to be a happy medium, a healthy medium there. That's why I think society, in a lot of respects, have some of these new cold plunges and meditations and all these
mm,
different yoga, and all this stuff has become very popular over the past 5-ish years, is because we're trying to figure out ways to deal with our damn anxiety in a healthy way. We really are. It's becoming more of a public topic of discussion to talk about addictions and depressions and anxieties, and they're not stigmatized as much anymore. And so, friends, as you're listening to this, I wonder what your self-soothing mechanisms are when you go to post a video, or when you go to take some sort of action in your business and you're feeling tons of anxiety. What do you do? Do you have a healthy way of dealing with that, or do you have an unhealthy way of dealing with that? And a breakthrough in your business may just be as simple as finding something for that. Do you agree with that, Michelle? I mean,
I know, yes.
sometimes it's not as complicated as we make it. Sometimes
Yeah.
we need to just find healthy coping mechanisms for doing these new scary things that we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dorina says, I go for a walk. That's a great tool. Leanne
Yeah.
says, all the motivational mindset tools inside of LM has really helped my anxiety. That's awesome. I wonder what anybody else would post. Not particular for me to read out loud, as I'm going to keep the conversation going, but just to share with other people about, what are your tools? What tools do you have in your toolbox? Oh, I have a screwdriver. I have a hammer. I have a drill, right? I have a pair of pliers. There's a lot, you know, uh, Olia says, I listen to music. Amanda says breath prayers. Jay Shipman, I think of happy times and smile. Wow. Hey, these are all great. These are great things. Hiking, says Christina. That's wonderful. Reading, so relaxing for me. Float in my pool. Hey, no, nothing wrong with finding a little time to float in your pool throughout the day in order to just get away from your computer or your phone, right? I think just our devices and our technology are anxiety inducing alone, right? And so we also have to make sure that we're using them and that they're not using us, right?
Yes,
I'm
exactly
sure
right.
that's going to be important for you as a parent too, right?
I totally agree. Yeah.
You don't want your kids sitting there on the screen all day long. I just read something the other day that more than 40 minutes of screen time for a 2 to 4 year old can create difficulty focusing, aggressive tendencies. And I'm like, because I got a 3 year old, and I'm like, oh shit. But God, that can be true for adults too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, God, if I'm sitting on my phone all day long, and I'm just like, scrolling, looking at other people, comparing myself.
Mm.
Um, is that something that you've dealt with, and
Yeah.
and how do you
A
deal
lot.
with keeping the focus on yourself and not kind of comparing yourself to other people? I call it comparisonitis.
Mm. Uh, well, I just remind myself, I actively remind myself that this is my journey. It's not theirs. I can only control what I could put out there. I could only control what learnings I could provide to my people. And they can do what they can do, but they can't do what I can do. So I just block that. I put my my mirrors out, my side mirrors inside, and I just focus on my journey. And really, to me, it's just how I always ask, how can I get better? How can I get there where she is now? What
Hmm.
can I do on myself, on my work? How can I get there? And I know it's difficult, especially in social media. There's a lot of noise right
Yeah.
now. There's a lot of noise, and
Mm.
it's really important to self do a self check and be like, listen, this is your journey. This is your story. This is not their story, and you have to hone your story. And if you feel like you have to learn more, and then apply the skills, and you kind of get better at it. And yeah, and sometimes when I look for content to get some ideas, I actually just look at like 5 profiles that I looked up to and get ideas from them. I don't scroll a lot of times and just because sometimes when you keep scrolling, you end up consuming and you end up comparing yourself. So I just have a few people that I look up to, and then I get ideas from them, and then that's how I roll in.
Yeah. I call that scroliosis. You get scoliosis.
That's a good word. That's a good word. Yeah. Scoliosis.
We got to
Yeah.
learn to laugh at ourselves, friends. I mean, it's certainly not making fun of anybody who has any. It's just about learning how to make fun of ourselves and laugh at some of the silly tendencies that we can develop. Because if you have a tendency to or a pattern of with everything you do, you kind of procrastinate and you get into it. And come on, friends, make a list of what your tendencies and patterns are when you get into something. What you can make a pros and cons list of patterns. You don't just have to make pros and cons list or list of you can do this with lots of different things with self. And one can be, what are your tendencies and patterns when you start something new? And you can write those down. The it doesn't even have to be a pros and cons list. It can just be a list to start out with. What are my tendencies and patterns? Well, I'm going to describe probably a lot of people right here. Well, I get really excited when I first start. I think that the grass is so green. I think it's greener than what I'm doing right now, right? So I look at what I'm doing right now and I look at what this new thing is, and I think this new thing is the solution. It's the answer to all my prayers. I get overexcited about it, and I think that, I need to drop what I'm doing and focus on this new thing. So I get really excited about it. I start it. I jump head first, all in, right? And then I get to work on it, learning or figuring out whatever whatever it requires. And then I realize that it requires work, and I realize that there's practice involved, and I realize that I suck at first. I'm not that good. I realize that there's actual skills that need to be developed. And as time goes by with the me needing to develop those skills, and put in the work, I tend to each and every day get a little bit more distracted again. Well, no, get better, sure, if I follow through, but I'm talking about people who don't follow through right now. I get a little bit more distracted, and then I start the cycle all over again as I'm not getting results as fast as I'd like to. Now, all of a sudden, I find something else, and I look and I start back at square one, which is thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And so I've developed a pattern of starting things and not following through. That's my overall pattern in tendency, right? Is that I start things and I don't follow through with them.
Mm-hmm.
I procrastinate. I lose interest, because there's also there's also a biological, right, phenomenon that happens when we start something new. As a nurse, you probably know this. Dopamine, right? Starting something new.
Yeah.
Kind of like a new relationship. Dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline. What are those things? Well, those are the chemicals that are released in our body when we're excited and feeling joy and starting something new. We're in the honeymoon phase. And then, as you know, with everything in life, relationships, children, even children, it's like, oh my God, those first few minutes that you hold your baby, oh my God. And then when that first poop comes out, it's like, wow, how many of these do I need to deal with over the next, how many ever years? And, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work. You can't, you can't abandon your baby, but we oftentimes abandon other things because they're easier to abandon and go and find the next shiny object. And so if that's one of your patterns and tendencies, then you know where you need to focus, which is following through, which is being honest with yourself that the grass is always going to be greener on the other side, but it's actually really only because that person over there on the other side's watering their grass, and you just need to water your grass.
Yeah.
It's actually green wherever you water it. And so if you're ignoring it and abandoning it because you're looking at the next hottest thing, then you're not watering your grass, and surely it's not going to be green. Ooh, does this resonate with you?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I actually started way back in August. I had to restart. My first account only grew to 450 followers. I had to restart. I had to press the reset button. And I'm like, I have to relearn this again. What did I miss? What happened? Why did I take off? So I had to accept that I've made mistakes, and then I learned from it, and then I grow. And then when I restarted in January, I went back in with a strategy. I am better equipped. I knew better, and I knew what to do. I'm not best yet. I'm still learning, but there was a plan. Like you said, we have to learn the skills. We have to put in the work first before we see the results.
Yeah. If you could go back to your early self, with all the knowledge and wisdom that you have now, what advice would you give yourself?
It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to learn from them. And don't be afraid to fail. That's where growth happens. And you just got to be open. You just got to be optimistic about it because this was shown to you for a purpose. You know it works. We just have to make it work for us. So that would be learning the skills, applying the skills, and how do you get better at it?
Mm.
And continuously learning, trial and error, see what works, analyzing what works and not working. And be a beginner, be a student, continue
Mm.
learning, and that's how you'll get better. Yeah.
What's one piece of marketing and content creation advice that you have to build your audience and your following on Instagram, for example?
Um, Sharing educational content in the beginning, and then you have to serve first. You have to provide information first before your audience would trust you. So you can't just sell and sell and sell in the beginning. They have to know what do you have that they could benefit from. So you have to provide information first before you kind of offer what you have to offer. That's just what I learned in my journey.
Are you somebody who's built your 82,000 following on Instagram from have you had any videos go viral? Or
Yes, I have a
you,
couple. Yeah, I have a couple. They're all information that probably a lot of people don't know about. And yeah,
would you say there's any rhyme or reason to those viral videos, or do you think that they're very similar to others and you just really never know which one's going to pop off?
they could be similar. They could be similar. These are contents that I made. I recreated from ideas from other people. So there's definitely a pattern that I see, but to be honest, I don't rely on going viral anymore. It's
Mm,
just there could be two things that could happen when you go viral. You get the right people and the wrong people. And
mm.
sometimes the wrong people get to me. And so yeah, that happens. But yeah, there's definitely a pattern. Um, Viral content are always gonna go viral in my opinion. Um, but you can't just copy and paste the content. You have to recreate it your own and put your own twist in it and make it your own.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people struggle, right? It's like, how do I add my own twist and flair? Is there one piece of advice that you have around making something
Oh,
your own and putting your own twist on it?
so I know social people come to social media to be entertained, but personally, I don't dance. I'm not a funny person, so I look at how could I entertain someone based on how I could entertain myself. So I tend to choose audios first, or like
Mm,
music that lifts me up or makes me dance or makes me nod, because I feel like when other people sees this, they're gonna feel the same way.
mm.
So yes, it's kind of like the same content, the same information, but I'm putting my twist on it by putting a different kind of music that makes me feel good. That makes sense.
That's a great tip. Start with the music. Start with the
Yeah,
music.
not most people say advise that music go last, but I tend to always find a good music first, and then
Yeah.
I make the content around that.
Yeah, so you find the piece of content that you want to model or
Mm-hmm.
recreate, you pick the music,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now you feel inspired and you
Yeah.
also know what it's kind of going to sound like and also sort of what it's going to look like, and now you can um, add your own flavor to it. You can present it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important. All great ideas at this point in most industries are modeled off of something else. So it's not like you have to feel bad, anybody, for recreating or modeling other
Mm-hmm.
ideas. Most likely, the idea that you're modeling after it was modeled after something else. It's
Yeah.
not, it's hard to come up with original ideas at this point in life
Mm-hmm.
anymore because there's literally billions of pieces of content out on the internet, if not trillions. I don't know exactly. I know there's billions of websites, and I mean, just the amount of content that's published online every day is astronomical. So it's about how can I put my own flavor on this? How can I make it stand out? How can I make it feel different? How can I make it feel personal? How can I take a trend and make it, and even on purpose make it feel or sound different? Like really, I'm gonna take this, but I'm gonna do it a little different.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful marketing lines that you could use in any of your content, sales videos, sales letters is, this is unlike anything you've seen before, right? Because the number one, maybe not the number one, but one of the top things that people subconsciously or unconsciously think when they see something is, I've already seen this before. And if they've already seen it before, there's a much less of a chance that they're going to be excited about seeing it again, because they've already seen it before. It's not new. And so if they say that, whether out loud or unconsciously, when they see your content, it's not going to pop off as well. So you need to approach what you do with the intention of, hey, I'm modeling something, but you've never seen it done like this before, right? And that's a good little secret for all things in life too, right? Because I mean, it's never a bad thing to stand out, right? I mean, there's a very cool thing that's happened here in the last 100 or couple of 100 years. It's called wearing shoes, right? But still, shoes come out and you're like, woo, look at those. Never seen those before, right? It's not a new idea.
Yeah.
People have been wearing shoes for a long time, but they've never done shoes like that before, right? So that's like a super simple analogy. Michelle, this has been great. I've loved talking to you. It's been inspiring, enlightening, educational. You've done a wonderful job, sharing tons of value with us here this morning. Thank you for your time, and please make sure to come back and see me here in the next couple of months and keep me posted on your journey, would you?
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right, Michelle, we'll talk to you later. Okay. Stay legendary, my friend.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, my friends, you can follow and find Michelle over at michellem.official. Michelle, spelled exactly how it sounds, MICHELLEM.official over on Instagram. My friends, wonderful way to end the week. Just so much honesty and authenticity there, and just education and inspiration in Michelle's story and share this morning. It was really wonderful and such an enlightening conversation. Hopefully you all took lots of little nuggets. I'm going to give her one more. I was so engaged with her this morning that, man, she deserved quite a few hat throws, but I was playing tennis there with our ideas and our thoughts and our conversation. So my friends, continue to join us here as we move towards our 1,000th episode. We are just a few episodes. I'll tell you exactly how many right now. 10, now 9 episodes away from 1,000. Think about that. Michelle was our 950th episode of Wake Up Legendary. We have interviewed 950 of you, my friends, and all the replays are right here. They're right here on the page, so you can go back and you can look at them and listen and learn. But you may want to start with just re-listening or learning from this episode here this morning. So much gold in it, and you can do that by checking it out as soon as we end. It'll be right here on this Facebook page. You can also go to all the major podcast platforms and type in Wake Up Legendary, and you can find it there as well. Re-listen. We get them up same day. If you want to get a notification whenever we go live, you can type in this little, let me post it in the chat as well. You can click this little link right here, And you can, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. You can get a Facebook notification through Messenger every single time we go live in the morning. That's how we're going to send out the link to our episodes from now on. So make sure you click that. I just put the link in the comments. Also, make sure that you never respond to anybody who is posing or pretending to be us. Or really anybody else. Please be very careful. There's a lot of scams going on right now where people are posing and pretending to be Legendary Marketer, Dave Sharpe, and many other of the popular marketers in the marketplace, in the industry, in the community. Be very careful. We'll never ask you to send money, crypto, things of that nature. If you ever buy anything from us, it'll be facilitated very professionally, and you'll buy things off of the site and facilitate. That's why we get on the phone and Zoom with people when they're purchasing a lot of our advanced programs, so they know that they're talking to who we say we are. So, anyways, be very careful. Yes, Robert, you're right. $9.90, not $9.50. My bad. Thank you, my friend. 990th episode. That sounds better. It sounds like more, right? The 950, 990. Michelle was the 990th episode here on Wake Up Legendary, moving right towards 1,000. So my friends, come back, join us on Monday. You can, I just put the link in the chat. If you want to get a text message reminder, you can click that link, join our community messenger list, and we'll send a little notification every weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern time for you to click on over and join the show. With that being said, one more for Michelle. Great interview, great show, a wonderful way to end the week. We have a mastermind coming up in New Orleans next week, so looking forward to seeing all of you there. And my friends, yes, we have a lead magnet workshop coming up as well. I believe it may still be open. We send out an email for that yesterday. So check your email inbox. And if you don't see the email in there, then you can always, let me see it real quick. Let's see here. Let's see if it's still up. 13 hours left, my friends. 13 hours left. I'll go ahead and post this. We do have a lead magnet workshop coming up here on Monday, I believe, is when it is. Here's this link, okay? The leadmagnetlab.com/enroll. I just put that in the comments. Go and check that out. We have a lead magnet workshop where we're going to be taking you through the process of creating your lead magnet, okay? You can check out that page. I will bring it up here and show it to you real quick, just so you can know that you're on the right page. If you come to a page that has me as a scientist in the lab right up front, making a face that looks like I'm constipated or something. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to go get different labs than that. But either way, check this out, okay? Because we're gonna be running this workshop Monday, June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Tonight at midnight, you need to get registered by then in order to join this workshop. It's $47. I mean, the price of a dinner out. And you will also get the recording. Check out all the different bonuses and everything you're going to get within this workshop. It's going to be a one-night workshop in order to help you get everything that you need in order to have an awesome lead magnet, or maybe update or improve or give you new ideas and templates for more lead magnets that you can test inside of your marketing to generate more leads. So make sure that you join us for that. I'm sure it'll be well worth your investment and time. We can't wait to see you on that as well. You have until midnight tonight Eastern time to join that. So please do that. Meet us on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And with that being said, my friends, yes, there will be a replay. Well, you'll get the replay, Jennifer, as you do with everything that we do here at Legendary. All right, my friends. Hey, One more thank you to Michelle. What an incredible episode. And my friends, have a great Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday for another episode. Same place, same time. Get out of here. Peace.